and the blazing underworld, it's not only cold-blooded men who write history. From beauty queens turned drug queens to widows who transformed grief into power, these mafia women defied both bullets and laws. But the question remains, who among them is truly the most terrifying? In the shadowy alleys of Naples, where dim streetlights barely illuminate passing figures, the name Maria Liardi lingers like a haunting whisper. Born into a Camorra family, Maria seemed destined to follow a blood-soaked path. Her father was a local boss, her brother Gennaro, nicknamed the Monkey, a notorious clan leader. When her brothers and husband all fell to prison and downfall, many believed the Liardi empire would collapse. But instead, it was Maria, the woman once thought fragile, who stepped forward, cold and unflinching, to claim the throne of power. Unlike loud, flamboyant male bosses, Maria chose to run her empire like an international corporation. The press dubbed her Italy's Scarlet Pimpernel for her cunning, pragmatism, and uncanny ability to vanish before police dragnets. She shattered Camorra's unwritten rules by diving into prostitution, purchasing women from the Albanian Mafia, and turning a forbidden trade into an immense source of profit. Yet it wasn't only about money. Maria engineered a machine-like structure, emotionless and precise, that made her syndicate more efficient than ever before. One judge remarked, "Under Maria, the Camorra ceased being just a gang. It became a multinational criminal conglomerate." But such power invited peril. In January 2001, she ordered the bombing of a judge's office to derail investigations. The audacity of the act ignited a hidden war between darkness and justice. Maria Liardi's story is one of icy brilliance and relentless ambition. Was she a criminal mastermind rewriting the rules of power, or merely a nightmare draped in the form of a woman? The mystery of her rise leaves an unsettling question hanging in the air, one that compels us deeper into her shadowed world. In Mexico, where drug cartels spread terror across the streets, one name resonates with allure: Sandra Avila Beltran, the Queen of the Pacific. Born into a family with narcotics running deep in its bloodline, Sandra grew up surrounded by secret deals, blood-stained money, and a sprawling network that stretched from Guadalajara to Colombia. Her striking beauty earned her the nickname the Aristocrat of the Underworld, a glamorous image that masked a brutal reality. The turning point came when Sandra plunged headfirst into the transnational cocaine trade, where every shipment was worth millions of dollars. With sharp intelligence and a vast power network, she quickly rose to become one of the most influential figures in the business, basking in mansions, luxury cars, and golden parties. But with wealth came enemies, betrayal, and death lurking at every corner. In September 2007, after years of hiding behind an elegant facade, Sandra was captured. Photographs of her in handcuffs flooded the media, shocking Mexico. A queen with sleek hair and cold eyes, now bowing before justice. Yet even behind bars, Sandra remained an enigma. Was this truly the end of her reign, or merely the beginning of a darker, more dangerous chapter in her story? Amid the crowded streets of Naples, the name Herminia Giuliano, better known as Celeste for her icy blue eyes, once cast a chilling shadow over both law enforcement and rivals. Born into the infamous Giuliano clan, Herminia witnessed drug deals and bloody score settling from the time she was a child. Her coming of age was bound to the darkness of the Camorra, where loyalty and ruthlessness were the price of survival. When the male leaders of the family were one by one imprisoned, Herminia unexpectedly rose to power. She oversaw large-scale drug operations, controlled finances, and orchestrated strategic alliances. Within the clan, people whispered that she ruled with her eyes, a cold stare enough to make traitors tremble. Under Herminia's leadership, the Giuliano family not only endured but expanded, holding on to its influence in a battlefield of enemies. Yet such prominence inevitably drew the attention of Italian law enforcement. By the early 2000s, anti-Camorra crackdowns intensified, targeting the most powerful figures in the syndicate. In 2000, Herminia was arrested during a major operation, and the image of Celeste in handcuffs sent shockwaves through the public. Still, a question lingers like smoke in the streets of Naples. Did that fall truly mark the end of Herminia Giuliano's reign, or was it only the prelude to a darker and more dangerous resurgence? In Mexico's turbulent years, one name stood out: emerging from the spotlight of beauty pageants only to descend into the shadows of organized crime. Clara Elena Laborin, often called the Queen of Sonora. Once a dazzling beauty crowned in local competitions, Clara quickly mingled with Mexico and Spain's high society, where she rubbed shoulders with artists, diplomats, and the powerful elite. But it was her relationship with Hector Beltran Leyva, one of the country's most feared drug lords, that pulled her into the very heart of the underworld. When many of the Beltran Leyva male leaders were eliminated, Clara did not retreat as expected. Instead, she stepped forward and seized command. In a world long dominated by men, her rise shocked many. She maintained territories, negotiated with rival cartels, and carved out a reputation as an unexpected symbol of power. Yet such dominance carried a heavy price: blood and betrayal. By 2016, failed negotiations had sparked a brutal gang war, turning Acapulco into a battlefield drenched in gunfire. On September 15, 2016, Clara was arrested with cocaine and weapons in her possession. The image of a queen, once adored under the stage lights, now shackled in handcuffs, stunned the public. But a darker question lingers. Did her downfall truly bring an end to Clara's empire? Or was it merely the prologue to an even bloodier chapter in her tragic pursuit of power? In England during the 1980s and 1990s, as drug wars and money laundering seeped into the streets, one woman's name began to surface with a chilling reputation: Marissa Marrow. Born in Blackpool in 1967, Marissa was never destined for an ordinary life. She carried within her the legacy of crime. Her father, Emilio Dev, was a notorious drug dealer and mafia enforcer, while her grandmother was a formidable matriarch in the powerful Italian 'Ndretta organization. From childhood, Marissa breathed an atmosphere of crime, where family conversations were tinged with the scent of money, blood, and power. Her life's turning point came when she married Bruno Maro, a high-ranking member of the Italian Mafia. Their union was not only personal but strategic, thrusting Marissa into the very core of organized crime. Together, they delved deep into drug trafficking, money laundering, and perilous underworld dealings. Yet while Bruno acted as the enforcer, Marissa was the cold strategist, the mind orchestrating networks and setting up clandestine operations. In 1993, the law finally caught up with her. In a dramatic raid, Marissa was arrested and convicted of money laundering. She was imprisoned at HMP Durham, within the notorious H-Wing, home to some of Britain's most dangerous female criminals. There, she was forced to adapt, surviving daily in a cold, unforgiving environment. Sharing cells with equally infamous women only sharpened her instincts and hardened her resolve. After nearly 4 years behind bars, Marissa was released. But instead of returning to her old ways, she made a surprising choice. She pursued studies in criminology. Many were shocked, even skeptical, but Marissa insisted it was her way of understanding the world she once belonged to, while forging a new future for herself and her children. It was a rare turning point, where a mafia queen chose knowledge over violence. In 2016, Marissa's grandmother passed away, the very woman who had once been the criminal matriarch of the family. At her deathbed, Marissa was confronted with haunting memories and a blood-stained legacy. She was forced to ask herself, had she truly escaped the darkness, or was she still bound to it? Her ultimate decision was to embrace peace, settling in Lancashire and distancing herself from crime, determined to protect her children from repeating the family's fate. The story of Marissa Marrow is not just a rare glimpse into a female figure in Britain's mafia landscape. It is also a testament to the struggle between shadow and light. She was once the embodiment of criminal power, but ultimately, she became proof that even in the underworld, there are some who are strong enough to walk away. In the suffocating shadows of Naples in 2006, while Italy was celebrating its World Cup victory, another blood-soaked story unfolded behind the scenes. Raffaella Delario, a woman born into the Camorra, stepped fully into the underworld's spotlight. The death of her husband, Nicola Panisse, a rising member of the organization, left not only a power vacuum, but also an opportunity for the young widow to ascend as a ruthless queen. Raffaella was raised in a family deeply entrenched in Camorra traditions, where loyalty, power, and cold-blooded violence were the sacred rules. Her marriage to Nicola was not just a union of love, but a strategic alliance designed to fortify both families' influence. Yet when Nicola was swept up in Operation Spartacus, a massive police crackdown on the Camorra, Raffaella was forced to take the reins. Many believed she would retreat into the shadows, but she proved them wrong. She personally oversaw drug trafficking routes, controlled extortion rackets, and expanded the clan's network across Europe. The turning point came in 2007. Raffaella's convoy was ambushed in a meticulously planned assault by rival clans. Dozens of bullets riddled her vehicle, but miraculously, she survived. From that moment on, she was branded Mafia, the big cat, a woman with 9 lives. Rather than retreat, Raffaella grew even more ruthless, weaponizing her survival as a myth to instill terror. Rivals began to whisper that fate itself was protecting her, and the legend of the immortal widow became a chilling symbol throughout Naples. Yet such notoriety came with a price. In 2012, during a nationwide crackdown, Raffaella and 65 other clan members were arrested. Italian media described it as a thunderbolt striking the Camorra. The image of a defiant woman who had once survived storms of gunfire, now being led away in handcuffs, shocked the nation. Still, many believe that even behind bars, Raffaella's influence endured. The empire she built was too vast, too intricately woven to collapse overnight. Loyal lieutenants ensured that her will continued to echo beyond the prison walls. This lingering power feeds an unsettling curiosity. Did her arrest truly mark the end of Raffaella Dellario's reign, or was it merely the prologue to yet another rebirth, where the immortal widow would rise once more from the ashes? In the heart of Sicily, the sacred ground of Cosa Nostra, one woman stepped out of the shadows and asserted power equal to any padrino, Maria Angela di Trani. Born in Palermo, Maria absorbed the atmosphere of the Mafia from childhood. The unwritten rules of Cosa Nostra, absolute silence, absolute loyalty, and absolute power, were etched into her mind as naturally as breathing. Her life became intertwined with her marriage to Salvino Madonia, a notorious mafioso. When Salvino was arrested in 1992 and sentenced to life imprisonment under the harsh 41 bis regime, where every connection to the outside world is severed, many believed the Utana clan would collapse. But Maria Angela proved them wrong. She stepped up, quietly yet decisively, and took full control of the family. Her intelligence and cold determination forced even the most senior members to bow to her authority. What made Maria most fearsome was her ability to rule from behind bars. Through coded notes and a network of utterly loyal intermediaries, she maintained drug trafficking routes, extortion operations, and strategic alliances. Investigative reports in 2008 revealed that Maria, not her imprisoned husband, was the true head of the clan. This revelation marked her as one of the few genuine regime queens of the Italian Mafia. In 2017, a major crackdown led to the arrest of 25 individuals linked to the Rutana clan, including Maria herself. Yet her presence never faded. Italian prosecutors admitted that even while incarcerated, Maria continued to influence the clan's decisions. She became living proof that power in the Mafia is not measured only by violence or wealth, but by the ability to command loyalty and inspire fear. The stories of Maria Angela di Trani stir both terror and fascination. How could a seemingly small woman maintain influence in a world long dominated by ruthless men? Perhaps it was her resilience, her air of mystery, and her ability to vanish into the shadows that made her one of the most formidable Donna di Mafia of this century. In the shadowy streets of Naples, where the Camorra spread fear like a plague, the name Cristina Pinto, better known as Nikita, echoed like a chilling warning. Unlike many women who remained hidden behind the curtain, Cristina stepped directly into the role of assassin, becoming one of the syndicate's most feared enforcers. By her early 20s, she was already leading brutal punishment missions, where a single glance or nod from her superiors meant a life could be erased. Cristina's reputation was built on her merciless daring. Ordered to eliminate a drug dealer who had betrayed the clan, she boldly opened fire on him in a crowded street, an act so audacious it terrified both allies and rivals alike. Yet the life of a hitwoman was fraught with peril. In 1991, her car was sprayed with automatic rifle fire in a rival ambush. Through sheer quick thinking, Cristina survived by slipping beneath the seat, turning a near-death moment into proof that she was not so easily destroyed. Eventually, her violent career caught up with her. Christina was arrested and sentenced to 23 years in prison, missing much of her daughter's childhood.